Hey guys, this is JC from Southern Grace Cakes right outside of Houston, Texas, and today I'm doing a quick tutorial on how to achieve sharp edges, straight sides, and a flawless finish to your buttercream cakes using acrylics. These are the items you will need: vegetable shortening, Glad press and seal, a pair of scissors, a paper towel, and your acrylic discs. These are the 6¼ inch acrylic discs that I purchased from CakeSafe's website. I find that the 1/4 inch version of discs provide a generous border of buttercream for your cakes and are thick enough to prevent even the darkest colors of cake to show through. You will want to first grease the top of your acrylic discs. Make sure that you are only greasing the tops and not the edges of the disc so the press and seal can grab hold and stay secure while you're icing the cake. Then you will take your press and seal and drape it over the greased surface of your acrylic. Smooth out any air bubbles that may be trapped underneath, and with your scissors remove the extra wrapping, but be sure to leave about 1 inch to pull over and attach to the back side of your acrylic. Next, begin to pull slightly and adhere the press and seal to the back side of the acrylic disc. This will prevent the press and seal from sliding around during the icing process. Repeat all of these steps for the other acrylic as well. The press and seal should be tightly wrapped with no shortening on the edges. My cake has been stacked and chilled in the fridge until my layers were firmly in place. I have removed the caramelization from the side, which is totally optional, and now I'm ready to place my bottom acrylic onto my bottom cake board. You will want your cake to stay in place and not slide around during icing, so here I'm applying dabs of buttercream onto my acrylic, centering my cake and placing it in the freezer for 5 to 10 minutes to allow the buttercream time to firm up and grab hold of my cake. This will prevent my cake from sliding around during the icing process. Now that my cake is firmly in place, I need to prepare my top acrylic. To get a smooth finish on the top of my cake, I'm applying a thin layer of chocolate buttercream directly to the acrylic disc. This step will prevent any large pockmarks, holes, or divots to appear in the top of your buttercream. Be sure your buttercream reaches all the way to the edge of the disc. Next, I'm taking a heaping scoop of chocolate buttercream and applying it to the top of my cake. You will want to put down more buttercream than is necessary because this is the cushion you will need to help balance and level your top acrylic. I'm smoothing it down slightly, making sure it reaches all the way to the edge of my cake. Now I'm taking my top acrylic and placing it on top of my cake. I'm pressing down to create a level cake top, allowing the excess buttercream to squish out of the sides. I like to remove my cake from the turntable and place it directly on my workbench to ensure that the sides are lined up perfectly. I'm taking my 2 acrylic straight edges and placing them on either side of my cake, checking to ensure that there are no gaps present in the top or the bottom. You can easily do this with the edge of a bench scraper or any other straight edge tool you have. Now that the top acrylic is in place, I am now going to secure it with a bit of buttercream, pressing it into the top seam with my offset spatula. I'm working my way all around the cake, making sure that the top acrylic seam has been sealed in completely. As you notice, I'm applying a very thick layer of buttercream. This is one of the best things about using the acrylic method. You can skip the crumb coating step and save yourself some time. I'm working all around the cake until I have a thick wall of buttercream that reaches the bottom acrylic. This will look messy, but it's okay, I promise. Now I'm slightly smoothing the sides with my offset spatula. Taking my metal bench scraper, I'm now going to first clean off my turntable and along the bottom edge of my acrylic disc. Placing my bench scraper against the top and bottom acrylic at a 45-degree angle, I am now starting the smoothing process. I'm looking for any gaps or holes in the buttercream that need fixed. I'm also beginning to remove the excess buttercream from the sides. You should start to notice the edges of the acrylics becoming more clear as you get to your finished round. Once I'm ready for the final smoothing, I place a paper towel down to remove any excess buttercream from my bench scraper. Having a clean bench scraper on each pass will help prevent air bubbles from forming. This is also the time I would normally finish my cake with using a heated metal spatula, but my chocolate buttercream has a tendency to discolor with heat, so I omitted that step this time. Now I'm simply scraping off the top of the acrylic to remove any excess buildup that may have occurred during icing. It is now time for the cake to go into the freezer to firm for 25 minutes. The cake has been chilled in the freezer for 25 minutes, so now I'm taking a larger cake cardboard, placing it on top, and by applying pressure on both sides, I'm flipping the cake over. I'm working with the bottom of the cake first, peeling back the press and seal all the way around the cake. I'm pulling it down to expose the edges of the acrylic. Here comes the magic. Hold on to the press and seal with one hand and with firm pressure applied to the acrylic, simply slide it back. The grease layer provides the perfect barrier to slide the disc right off without any prying or nail marks in the sides of your cake. I flipped the cake back over using the same process, and now I've peeled back the press and seal, exposing the edges of the top acrylic. With one hand grabbing the press and seal and the other hand on top of the disc, I simply apply pressure and slide it back. I peel up my press and seal all the way around the cake and remove it, exposing a flawless finish with sharp edges, perfect every single time. Here is the finished product and a few other cakes accomplished using the acrylic method. I hope this quick tutorial helps, and be sure to subscribe for more tips and tricks for your buttercream cakes.